Hello, everyone. Welcome back. After last week, you guys know I was going through some difficult times, and uh, not difficult in the sense that I don't know that it was a bad thing. I think I was about to title that episode "Growing Pains" because it was, or it is, because it's not necessarily complete, a beautiful cycle of life, and it's a growth spurt, but it also is, it's scary. And so I had in my mind that I was going to call it Growing Pains, and then as I went to publish it, I realized that the song that I use for the intro and outro is the perfect, taking the perfect vibration instead of it being a pain and making it a let it in. So, I left that episode feeling very confused and nervous, and um, not really knowing really where do I go from here. And the reason is because I hadn't had been in my own energy, and by that I mean completely in my solitude, which is where I get the inspiration for these episodes, and truly what I share with you guys. I think I've said this before, it comes from meditations, and it comes from going within to kind of feeling the pulse of what's happening collectively, and then that is the message usually that's shared, right? It's not, sometimes it coincides with what I'm doing, but obviously last week was a very personal personality or this life based conversation. And typically I don't do that. I typically have spirit speaking through me. So what scared me is that, am I going to be able to find that rhythm again, that going inward motion again with all of this new energy that is now flowing in my life? And I didn't know, because I had never experienced it before, and that's why I was terrified. And but I also knew on the other side of it, it's happening, and it is exactly perfect. So I knew that it wasn't a bad thing. It's just can your ego get out of the way and allow this, and allow you to evolve into something bigger, right? And so then it took many days for me to get back to my center. And I think I told you guys, I don't know what this means. Like, is this even going to be my journey anymore? And can I get back to that centered place? And finally, I did hear the voice again, or the knowing again. And it did take time. It took time for me to find that center and kind of connect back to the pulse of me. And this week's topic is something that had kind of come in a way, actually in the tribe group. One of the women expressed the desire to have more connection to spirit besides the breadcrumbs. Like, she was longing for a moment of clarity instead of chasing the breadcrumbs, which we all do. We all look for those signs, and we all kind of go into the flow as the signs appear. But she had expressed that she was longing for a clear answer to things. And I didn't, obviously this week wasn't supposed to, or wasn't necessarily with that in my mind, but it's funny how someone puts an energy thread in your space, and the download that I got this week kind of correlated. So I love that, because it's like speaking to what I know most people are feeling. And even after the episode last week, I think 3 different people came to me saying that they also were feeling that same energy, that same overwhelm, but also so happy, but at the same time, like, what do I do with this feeling? And I know that when we share the things that we're most afraid of, that's where growth is, because you're bringing words to something that is the undercurrent, right? That is the thing that nobody wants to speak about, but it's the thing that needs to be said so that others feel at home and feel the oneness. Because I think typically we've been conditioned to not share those things, right? Those are the things that keep us separate. But what I'm finding is that the things that keep us in our heads separate from other are actually the connectors that bring us closer. Whenever we have that feeling of, I want to retreat with this information or this feeling, I feel like that's our moment to get it out of us and share it, because you're not the only one going through it. And that's what was reflected back to me. And it made me feel, again, no wonder I had the pressure to get it out, right? So this week, as I tuned in, the feeling of timelessness came into my download. And essentially the message was that time only exists when we are outside of the present moment. Meaning, you can only find timelessness and be in flow when you are exactly where you are in this moment at this exact space and time. And anytime that we look to the future or think of the past, that's when time is relevant. So I think this came up for me because I have been feeling time is speeding up, and I feel like there are not enough hours in the day. I feel like I do a lot, and it's like each hour feels like it's a half an hour. And so by the end of the day, I'm like, where did the day go? And I know it's because I feel like I'm probably thinking of the things that I need to do, the things that I have planned to do. And it's never being I don't want to say never being present, but the only way that we get back this timelessness is to just be in the moment of whatever it is that you're doing, whether it is doing the dishes or cooking or painting or whatever it is, being present in that moment and letting everything else fall aside. Because when we compare ourselves to others, it takes us out of the present moment. So by comparison, I mean, when you think like, well, I am this far on my journey, but I wish that I were this far, that's taking you out of your moment. That's taking you out of your journey, which then makes you feel less than. And then also it makes you feel like time is like, what, I need more time. I need to get better. I need to do more. And when we get caught up in the thoughts to be better or do more and or etc., it's like you will never experience that flow state in life. And timelessness shows us everything is unfolding in the exact right way and time, and can be and we can be present of the gifts that we receive each and every moment. So yeah, I mean, I realize that it's a hard one, because how do we not do that? I mean, our whole lives we do that, always in our head thinking about the next step, right? It's really hard to, unless you're forced to be in the moment, it's really hard to stay in the moment. But I know that in order for us to find timelessness and to be in timelessness is when we'll really be in the rhythm and flow of life, and knowing that whatever is coming up for you in that present moment is exactly right. Because I've seen this so many times. Everything is so planned out. And I know that's a weird thing to say, because I know we have free will, but everything shows up in your life at exactly the moment that it is supposed to, right? There is no coincidence. There are synchronicities that mirror that right state to you, but there are no chance meetings. There's nothing that we can do to speed up that happening or slow it down from happening. And it's like finding this balance of knowing that you cannot create change for the future if you're not present, right? You have to be present in your body And in, let's say, in every conversation that you have, or every email that you get, or every sign that shows up is a literal reflection to you to stay present, to not disconnect, and to not project, and or even look back, right? Because it goes both ways, whether if you're looking back and mourning something, or pondering something, or running a conversation over in your head, or you're looking to, I want this perfect relationship, I want to have this career, or I want this in my life. All of it is taking you out of flow. Flow only exists in this moment. And it's funny because this kind of download came, and I was like, oh, I've talked to you guys about gene keys before, and my life's work is the 5th gene key, which gene keys have a shadow state or a low frequency state, and then they have a gift state and a city state, which is the enlightened state of that gene key. And the 5th one is my life's work, which the shadow of it is impatience. The gift is patience, and the city is timelessness. And I was like, oh, is this message just for me? Are you telling me this because I need to focus on this? And they were saying that it's relevant for everyone. It's not, I mean, all of the gene keys, regardless of it, if you carry it in your profile or not, every single one of us embody all of them. But this gift of timelessness, it feels like it's coming up because it's becoming more and more important as our timelines are shifting. And as time speeds up, which it actually is, it's not a trick of our imagination. Time is going faster. And as you guys become more in flow with who you really are, it will feel that way, because you start to feel like there aren't enough hours to ingest and learn and grow, because we're changing and there is a need. And the reason that I feel like that pressure is present, because I feel that source is wanting us to hurry up, but at the same time being present to where you are in the process. Because if I would have been given the information that I'm giving you today a year ago, it wouldn't have made sense. And also I think that it's like a rhythm of life, and feeling into the currents of energetic connections and of the collective that are happening at this given time, which is why this message is coming up. I also just am well aware that, again, if I'm feeling this, I know we all are feeling this. And the message that is that we can only be truly timeless when we are exactly where we are. Remember, to be timeless is to be in rhythm and flow with life, regardless of what's happening around you. And that is the only way that you are able to embody who you really are. So I wanted to share with you guys the archetype of the 5th gene key, which is the rhythmic. And I have a little thing to read to you guys. The rhythmic experiences rhythm deeply, like a natural pulse in his cells, in his DNA, and enjoys fixed rhythms and tempos, experiences them like heartbeats and breath. The rhythmic finds great satisfaction in the mundane rituals and routines that attune him to the vibrations of life. He stays true to his own inner rhythms in order to stay vital, healthy, and always in his flow. For the rhythmic, even intimacy and work has a pattern, consistency, and rhythm. The rhythmic fixes the patterns of all life, holding all creatures and humans together in a wider universal rhythm, creating resonance through his heart and breath, and naturally adjusts the tempo. So the rhythm is always harmonized and not forced. Out of this archetype emerges a deep sense of security that comes as a result of everything following a universal flow. For the rhythmic, waiting isn't stopping. Instead, it's an active state. Much like being pregnant, waiting is part of the natural his nature. He honors it and relaxes into the flow of life. He trusts his innate sense of timing, sets his intentions and long-term goals, then falls back on the reassuring confidence that everything will proceed in its own time. The rhythmic knows nothing happens by accident or without a potential gift. Knowing this, the rhythm of patience is natural to him. So I think for me, I had fallen out of my rhythm, right? That's what happened last week. I was completely, like, it felt like all this energy coming at me. And I felt like, even though so embraced by it, I was totally thrown off of my balance and my rhythm. And I know that happens because we are here to grow. We're not here to just stay in the status quo. So it's embracing those moments that throw us off the rhythm, but then finding that pace again and finding that beat to realign your soul to, because ultimately that's what you're here to do. And that's how you're here to give your gift, is through that ever occurring beat that rhymes or that vibrates within you. And I know that times are pushing, and I know that the energy is feeling like pressure. And I want you to know I feel it too. I definitely feel it too. And there are not enough hours in my day to ingest all that I want to. But I also know that there's a reason for that as well, right? Like, if there were enough hours in the day to do all the things, whose energy are you ingesting? Think about it like that, really. How do you go back to your own inner well and pull from that place? Only in the present moment is where it's at. So this week also, I was clearing up a bulletin board that I have over the last year and a half been posting or putting up things that were important to me, or it was like some pictures, some graphs, some different things. And among them was a poem that I got from one of you guys, Mina. And it was a while ago, maybe 6 months ago. And I had put it up there because it felt like a gift from her soul. And as I was taking everything down to do a cleanse and a reset, of course, it came into my awareness, as this is part of of this week's conversation. So I'm going to read it to you. It's something that she channeled, and it feels like it is now timely to share. And I've obviously asked her permission, but I think that we all are channels, and we all are here to share it. And like I said, it's listening to the current of life, the rhythm of life, to know when it's time and when it feels timely. Like when it for me, it feels like it bubbles up to such a state that I have the choice of either denying it, which is, probably what I did my whole life. But now I know that's exactly the opposite of what I should do. So it's sharing those uncomfortable things, even when it's terrifying and it makes you vulnerable, because it's bubbling up for a reason. So I'm going to read to you her poem. Stand courageous, anxious hearts, against energies unknown. Contemplate it and observe the ethers you've been shown. Stagnant from fears of the future, imbued in the traumas of years past. Timelines continue blending, while lonely presence grows contrast. Realign and move inward. Unclasp your stubborn foothold, then take a grand leap forward, allowing fated to unfold. We are safe and all is well, surrendering faithfully, turning shadows into gifts, we integrate gracefully. Live here, love now, take action, co-create and inspire. Let common grounding guide our way and cultivate our desires. This is us, our radiance, most authentic expression, showing every aspect of our perfect imperfections. As above, so below. To the fires of the south, embers fueled by love and joy, releasing fear and doubt. As below, so above. hearts healed and restored, so grateful for our life force now and evermore. And this is by Mina. And it feels like I had chills while I was reading it. It feels like this is the time. This is the time to embrace all of the things. This is the time to embrace all of the things inside. And finding that place inside that is timeless, that is only you, that is only your vibration. It is literally the thing that will hold you safe and hold you secure in this moment. And whenever you find yourself trying to disconnect or check out or bury yourself in a show, a TV show, or anything that pulls you out of that state, be present. Don't judge yourself. Be patient with yourself and just know that you're doing it, right? Like, know that you're checking out for a reason because it's uncomfortable. But then slowly, like, I look at it as readjusting back to the heartbeat of the earth, which I've always felt as the waves of the ocean. And if you've done a healing session with me, I always start from that place of realigning your breath back to the heartbeat of the ocean and Mother Earth, because it's in that womb that we will find that centered timelessness. And then from that space, you can really share who you are, because you're no longer searching, you're no longer longing for something that isn't yet ready for you. It's not ready for you because you haven't gotten to the place to pull it in. Everything that is yours is always yours. It's always been yours. There is no need to long for anything other than you and finding it within. So I hope that this is helpful and timely and brings you some peace and knowing that you are not alone. Everybody is going through it. And again, I feel like the downloads that I get are because it's happening collectively, and it's something that we need to speak about and hold space for each other, and have the patience for ourselves in this process. As always, we will be having our Energy Tribe chats on Fridays at 2:30 Pacific time, and the Zoom link will be below in the show notes. If you are on Spotify and aren't able to see the show notes, just email me and I'll send you the link. Otherwise, you can sign up for the newsletter at my website, which is gabriellegenter.com under Tribe. And you will always get the emails for each week as they come up, but the link doesn't change. So you can always save the link, and it is always right now set for 2:30 on Fridays. And again, I to describe the energy of that group is impossible to put into words, but just know that you will be held and honored, and it's just such a full of love container that I am so happy to share with you all. And I know the women that are in that group also feel the same way, and we would love to see you there. So I look forward to it. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe below. And this channel will also be holding all of the recordings of the Energy Tribe chats, so you can always catch them after they happen.